So much of my Commonplace Notebook is having a space to empty my thoughts so that they can live somewhere outside of my brain. And once I put these things in here, I'm no longer sifting through them. I don't feel like I have 1,000 open tabs in my brain because I just dump. Hi friend, welcome back. Today we're going to do the final flip through of my first ever Commonplace Notebook, and where we left off was here. You gotta eat, lady. I'm still working on it. I remember that I did this as I was waiting for a meeting at the kids' school to start, and there was just a random, I'm pretty sure that it was like a Crayola Super Tip like marker. And one thing about me is if I see a pen, I want to see what it does. And it was already starting to dry out, so I just made the best of it and ended up doing this illustration. What did I write? This is essentially a swatch page of the Pilot G2 in the 07. I love a Pilot pen and I love color, but I don't necessarily love to write in color. So as much as I enjoyed creating this, I then proceeded to not really use these pens going forward. Here is some more play with the same pens. Maybe me trying to convince myself that I could make this into a thing using colorful pens in my lettering. Every once in a while I like to add color, but I like to add color, I guess, in the ways that I like to do it. And this ain't it. This is, I hesitate to call it a poem, but these are essentially some thoughts that I had about my body. And this was all inspired by my friend Claire, who did like a poetry night that she invited us to come experience with her. And it was so empowering and so inspiring to hear her words and to see her perform them. And I think either the same night or the same week for sure, these words came out of me. And I don't mind if it's read, it's just, it's long. As you can see, I was still continuing to try to make those pens work, but just like Fetch, it's never gonna work. Here is a version of my hidden journaling. This one is not so hidden, but it's when I write in a particular pattern, and I don't really care too much about the spacing because that also aids in the hiding of the journaling. The trees have sprouted and their branches are whispering go. I don't know, sometimes I romanticize even the sound of the leaves rustling in the wind. Last summer, there was a double brood emergence of cicadas in the Midwest and maybe other places, but I live in the Midwest right now, so in the Midwest. And my son is a lover of all things wild and free in nature. He started off as like being obsessed with dinosaurs. One of his first words as an 18-month-old was dinosaur. Of course, he used to say Daitor, but we knew what he was saying. We knew it. And we have identified and learned about every single dinosaur that we possibly could. There's no reason why I would ever need to know the word Pachycephalosaurus other than my son. And in that vein, of course, he is very interested and was very interested in this double brood emergence, which it was a first time experience for both of us. It was really serious in the suburbs, and apparently it was an issue where they were loud as heck. They're loud now. They're outside now, and they are very loud. But apparently the volume of them, of a double brood out there screaming for love at the same time, is really intense. And then as they die, then just the sheer volume of them decomposing at the same time apparently smelled like dumpster juice. I'm not mad that we didn't get to experience that part of it. People were actually fighting their way into cars. I don't know, it was apparently a thing. Look it up. Anyway, went to a store, got the sticker, got t-shirts. This is another version of my hidden journaling where I just write from left to right. So if you want to try this version of hidden journaling, highly recommend, highly recommend. This is me essentially manifesting a house for us. It's something that we want to do in the near future, but of course we have to find what's right, and that process can be long and arduous, and I don't love it. I wish it would just appear. Have you ever heard this concept that there's a version of ourselves in every dimension? And there are like millions of dimensions. Apparently it's possible that there are millions of dimensions in the vastness of this crazy, huge universe. And then in all those dimensions, there are another version of ourselves living a slightly different life, but it's you over there. And I just have this weird question of whether we are able to connect with ourselves in another dimension through our dreams. And maybe that's why our dreams feel so vivid, because we've connected with ourselves in a different dimension. I know I sound really crazy. Whatever, just fast forward. It's just thoughts, you know what I mean? Just thoughts. Thoughts on nature, the real luxuries in life, slow mornings, freedom to choose, a good night's sleep, peace of mind, calm and boring days, being present, people you love, people who love you back. It's from Pinterest and I love that. Elevator ponderings. Look, cicada sticker captions. Hear me out. Everybody scream. Like, can you imagine a bunch of cicadas in a club just like bopping and then everybody going, rah! Okay, this flip through is wild. An aurora borealis was apparently visible last May in the Midwest, namely in Chicago, and none of my friends thought to tell me to run to the lake to witness it. So this is my expression of my discontent. These are lyrics to one of my favorite Fiona Apple songs, along with one of my faceless girls, still using those pens. We all need to chill. I won't go first, but it's something I've noticed. I saw this on Instagram and giggled and just felt so seen by this. So seen. I have moments like this where I have this urge and this need to do something on paper, but I don't really know what. And when that happens, I will just hand letter either a quote or just something that pops on my mind, and then maybe add details and just kind of make the most out of it or do the most with it, even though I'm completely uninspired. So I don't love this, but I can always come back and continue to add interest to it if I wanted to, which clearly I have not. Something about becoming a mother from Pinterest. This is an ode to Montrose beach season. And I think that I always feel this whenever the seasons are changing, specifically when we're going from cold to warm, and how amazing it feels to come out and have like that fresh air and the possibility of newness and fun and stuff. This was my, is it a foray? I don't know, me trying to practice what I believe is called pointillism, but this might very well not at all be that, but essentially just using dots to create shading in your artwork. And at least once a year, maybe once every 2 years, I get this urge to pursue this method. And always about a quarter of the way into the dots, I regret my decision, but then I have to muscle through it and just do as many dots as possible to where you kind of get the point. But certainly it's by no means complete. But I think what I will do is that whenever I get that urge again, I'm just going to come back to this and just continue to add to this until maybe it will be done 10 years later. This is me talking to my imposter syndrome, because she does not always want to get on board. And sometimes she has to be told to handle her business already. Her name is Felicia. I had no business buying new Crayola Super Tips. I did not need them in any way, shape, or form. However, they were pastel, so my childhood self got the best of me. I bought them, swatched them, proceeded to ignore them. What is this? The last week of school, maybe much like the first week of school, it's just so much is crammed in and so much information is thrown at you and so many events and things to plan and organize. And then while you're doing that, you still have to like live your life and fulfill your other worldly responsibilities. Sometimes I start a sentence and I don't even know where it's going. I just hope I find it the way. So that went wrong. I'm missing the word along maybe. Who knows? I often like to draw these characters that are very uncomfortably posed. Like this is not a sustainable way to stand. And I think I do it to reference discomfort. This character planting or taking care of the new growth. I journaled inside of her dress, which I really like to journal around or inside my characters. And it says plant what you need. And I guess the thought is to give yourself what you need however you can. So this is another example of drawing images or characters that I use as journaling space. This was during my candle buying season. I don't really buy a lot of candles because I'm always tempted to keep the vessel that the candles come in. And there's only so many of those that you could keep. So no, can't do it, won't do it. And on Mother's Day, we had lice, freaking lice. That's a true story, that did happen. Damn it. Shout out to all the neurospicy humans. I love this. My thought behind this was that I wanted to create like a yin and yang sort of feeling. I don't know, guys. I can't always execute what I'm imagining, so this is to the best of my ability. This is just a memory spread of a likeness of myself and my son. We went to the Peggy Notebook Nature Museum, which we love to go to. If you're ever in Chicago, the Nature Museum is a great place to take your children. My son is 11 and he absolutely still loves it because he's such a nature lover. So a little bit of journaling about that. And again, it's a likeness. It looks nothing like us because I'm not that kind of artist, but I do wear a hat often. I had this hope of creating just an outline depicting ancestry. I don't love it, but you know, it is what it is. We're not always meant to love everything, friend. We just have to turn the page and keep going. This was the summer that I broke up with bullet journaling. I'm surprised that that happened, but I also will say, and while I broke up with the bullet journal system, I still use a lot of the bullet journal methods in my Commonplace Notebook. So there's that. This was the first summer that I didn't create 6 monthly spreads to follow. I essentially just did everything in this one spread, and then I did lists as needed. But I pretty much was just functioning on a lot of autopilot and just trying to live in the moment with the kids and keeping them busy over the summer and not really thinking about sitting down to write down every single plan. The work is eternal. And by this, I mean the work that we do for our own emotional growth. You have to be intentional about your thoughts and the things that you say and what you do forever. I feel like growth is a beautiful thing to constantly look forward to, just continuing to grow. This was a funny moment. We went to the lake with my friend. It's like a whole full moon thing, and everybody just brings their picnics and they sit and they just like enjoy the moonlight and enjoy the performance. And there's like fire breathers. Is that what they're called? Do like all the fire wands things or whatever. And for this one, it was supposed to be a strawberry moon. We waited for ages, never saw a stinking moon. And then when it was time to leave, we were like, oh, it was just behind the trees. Idiots. Peace. I had a particular experience that really bothered me. And so that I just journaled about it and sort of declared to myself that I was not going to willingly allow this experience or this person to steal my peace. I benefit from a lot of affirmations, and I'm glad that I'm at the point that it doesn't feel weird anymore. I think when I first started out with affirmations, it can feel like cringy, as the kids say, to be like, I am capable. The more that you make it a habit to say it, that discomfort will shed away and you will be left with the ability to affirm and claim your feelings. I saw this on Pinterest and it really resonated with me, so I just wanted it to have a page here. This is notes on the war of art. My memory has been less dependable in my advanced age. So I think that from now on, because of that, I've tried to take notes on my reading so that I can maybe retain more. And you know, if you write something down, you're more likely to remember it. So yeah, that's my new style of reading now. Anytime I come up with something that I want to remember, I don't just highlight it, but I actually write it down. Do you ever notice that like you're able to be really nice and cordial, respectful, thoughtful, communicative, and all the things with like people at work or people in your environment, people that you come across, common strangers, but then sometimes you don't offer that same care and delicateness with the people that you love, which is the people who should have priority in that treatment. So it's kind of like a reminder of that. This is really indicative of how I was feeling dealing with insomnia and how it can feel like a spiral of insomnia, exhaustion, stress, insomnia, exhaustion, stress. The only way to break it is to figure out how to create an environment where you can rest. Also adopting different ways to rest so that at the very least you can minimize the stress, which could then impact the insomnia in a positive way, which then would impact the exhaustion. I did this workshop called Emotional Mastery and I loved it. It was so good. It was geared toward parenting and addressing our own emotional imbalances and dysregulation and how that affects parenting and therefore affects your children's ability to emotionally regulate and all the things. And so I took copious notes. There's more somewhere else. We'll bump into them. I just took notes, however, because I didn't listen to the workshop all in one go because life as a parent. Somewhere along my scrolling, I came across this conversation of legacy and what we as individuals would want our legacy to be. And I thought it was a really interesting thing to think about. And so I created it as a prompt for myself for some mind mapping of how I would like to be known and remembered. So the things that I wrote down that are in parentheses are the things that I feel I'm still working on. And maybe I should not have parentheses intelligence. I mean, I am a relatively intelligent person, but I think that that's always a work in progress. While I do consider myself to be intelligent, I think that there's more to learn. Maybe that's why I did the parentheses, but I would like to be able to be more dependable. I would like to continue to be more optimistic. Well, I feel like I've done a lot of work on the optimism though. So I would probably take that out of the parentheses now, a year later. Balanced, I've really worked on my balance. It's great to be able to look at this spread and see that I've worked on some things. And I'm definitely working on my confidence and my courage. Okay, so cool. So yeah, think about it. Think about the things that you would like to be known for and maybe create a spread like that for yourself. Am I certain I'm an artist? No, but I am certain I'm an explorer of art. Ain't that the truth? This came from the channel called Struthless, and this is the formula that he uses, I think, for journaling. If I can find it, I'll put it in the description box. I think it's worth watching, especially if you're either new to journaling or would like to be more consistent and more intentional about your journal. Perfection is not the way, it's in the way. Brene Brown, a wise woman. I drew this in pen without doing pencil first, which I never do. And it was for the purpose of embracing this, that perfection, it's not the way, it's in the way. And I also have this concept of like, even if I think it's ugly, color it anyway, because why not? It's just a step along the way of learning or improving. So I kind of love it. It's a hot mess and I love it. July be like. So again, not doing a bunch of bullet journal spreads, just documenting. This is something that came to me as a result of the emotional mastery workshop. And it is in essence a statement that I wrote to my inner child of not understanding what she needed, but now I'm learning. And now that I'm learning, I can give her what she needed. FOMO, some people have it. I actually have JOMO, which is the joy of missing out. This is a sticker that I've been wanting to create forever. And I just put it in my notebook so that I don't forget it, immediately forgot it. So I guess I'm being reminded now. What a beautiful thing it would be if our boundaries were safe with everyone. If we could just know that our boundaries would be safe with anyone that we come across, we can count on them to respect our boundaries. Man, the world would be a different place. More notes on emotional mastery. More notes on emotional mastery. I tell you, I thrived in that workshop. It was so good. Self-regulated does not mean you don't get dysregulated. Oof. Notice your yellow and orange flags before you get there. So essentially, like before you get to the red flag. And this is an illustration of me as a parent trying to regulate a dysregulated child. You know, children get dysregulated. That is normal. And we need to understand that it is normal, and we need to approach it from a regulated space. So I'm trying to depict that I'm down at his level and I'm open for an embrace. I'm peaceful. I'm not reacting. I'm maybe even validating his reaction. Anyway, that. These are like my dandelion figures that I was doing for a while that summer. I honestly don't know where the journaling begins or ends here, so good luck finding what this says. You still haven't met the people who are going to love you. I love that. I just thought it was so uplifting, and just put these people here in the end. On my way to a 4th of July picnic with my friend, I stopped by the grocery store and found this posted on the floor, and I couldn't help but wonder, what the heck were they making? Feels like maybe a soup. Yeah, because stock. But then watermelon and bellies. Watermelon and berries. But like, on the 4th of July, you're making soup? What's that about? Control how you respond to things sent to destroy your peace. Here for it. And look at her. She's just like, not penetrating, not penetrating. This is not real life, is on her phone. This is just some journaling about realizing the power that I have to control how I respond to things. Here for it. I love this. I will not stay ever again in a room or conversation, relationship, institution that requires me to abandon myself. Yes. The last 3 summers have been taking care of caterpillars that became black swallowtail butterflies, and I loved it so much. It was a beautiful experience, so I just wanted to journal about that. Some thoughts from Pinterest, some fun thoughts on the bumblebee that I didn't know. This is a sticker from Anna. I believe this is her illustration. They're available on her shop. Some journaling about going to the Field Museum with Noelle. This is a sticker of an artist that is Chicago based, and this is a watercolor illustration of an octopus, and it was sold at the Field Museum. I left this space for journaling about the artist, went home and promptly forgot the name of said artist. So the next time we go to the Field Museum, I will find that out. This is from Pinterest, and you know, it resonated, so it goes in the journal. You're not responsible for how people trigger you. You're responsible for how you react. Pause. If they're intentionally triggering me, then we're gonna fight. But no, we're not gonna fight. I've never been in a fight, guys. I'm just lippy, that's all. This is actually how I felt, and as noisy as it looks, a lot of anxiety, I think, is just things that we hold in. That's why it feels so good to talk to a friend. You feel like a sense of relief, even if you're expressing anxiety. But it's really hard to feel anxiety and keep it in and then spend extra energy to mask. God, the amount of years that I spent masking, it's no wonder that, you know, you have a moment where you just flip out, or as the kids say, you crash out. Mental health is like static on a TV. It can take a while for you to find a clear channel, but keep trying. So I just tried to draw an old TV with some static. Anybody who's my age, which is apparently still everybody that subscribes to this channel. Hi friends, we're all in our upper 40s. Hi. If you're not in your upper 40s and you're watching this, please comment just so that I can know that one person that's not in their upper 40s watched this flip through. I welcome you. I love when people do these waves. I need to practice more of it. I think this one came out okay. So this was an exercise of reminding myself of what I love about myself. There are things that I am proud of myself for. I'm proud that I'm hilarious. I find myself hilarious. You can disagree. You'd be wrong, but you can disagree. I think I'm hilarious. My husband does not think I'm funny at all. Whatever. I think this was a really great exercise of reminding myself. I must have needed it that day, and that's why it happened. I know why I needed it. July 21st. The month of July is a very heavy month for me. It is a month where I am celebrating life and also processing grief. My birthday is July 27th. My daughter's birthday is July 25th. My son's birthday is July 11th. My wedding anniversary is July 3rd. And I see a lot of family in July. My family from New York comes to spend a week or so with us and celebrate the kids and myself. But also, as a child, my dad passed away in the month of July. And your body remembers. And last year, though, I think was the first year that I decided to own that those feelings are going to come in July because my body has these memories of a deep grief and trauma. So this is clearly the reason why I did this exercise for myself. Good job, Shanice. Good job. Juggling event schedules, texts, family, and friends is not my ministry. Again, July is very busy. And so it's July 23rd. So at that point, we have already celebrated an anniversary, my son's birthday, but we still have my daughter's birthday lurking around the corner. Then my birthday. This is my inner child expressing anger and holding this person accountable, and this person realizing and validating her anger. So it was kind of like a really smart and important exercise for me to do. Shanice, good job. Can intentional daydreams be a meditation? I'd like to know your opinion on that because I think so. You often hear it said that like people's like, well, I can't quiet my brain, and like I keep ruminating and overthinking, and then I just have to stop. And then I've heard professionals say that's normal. You're not meant to quiet your brain. Your brain, it's almost impossible to have a completely quiet brain. The goal is to make peace with the thoughts, to allow them to exist, and to try to create a relaxed space anyway. So I kind of like hacked my way into that by using that time to daydream. So I close my eyes and then I start to build a story in my brain, breathing, focused on relaxing my shoulders, relaxing my jaw, releasing my tongue from the roof of my mouth. These are all the things that they say to do, right? So I'm trying to do all of those things. And then I'm allowing myself to hear the traffic, allowing myself to hear the birds chirping and enjoying that. And sometimes I will picture where I would want to be. I want to be in Hawaii, my favorite place. I want to be at Waimea Bay. I want to be looking at the crystal waters. And so I imagine the crystal waters and the gentle breeze and the sound of happiness around me, people on vacation and things. In doing that, it made me wonder, like, is that an actual form of meditation, or am I just making shit up, which is entirely possible. This I did on my daughter's birthday. Highly likely that this was done late at night after everybody went to bed. Chinatown, Chicago. Nia's 12. That's what she wanted to do. She wanted to go to Chinatown. She loves going there, and I'm in my sticker era, so. And here's some private journaling, a letter that I wrote to my little Nini Bear. That's my daughter's name is Nia, and Nini Bear was her nickname growing up. And here's a little message for her. Happy 12th birthday, yada yada. The finish line keeps moving and there's no stopping in sight. Venting maybe. I used these washies to label all of my mom's different plugs and cords when she came to visit. So I just wanted to document all of the different washi styles that I used to decorate her cords, because I want to remember everything, all the things. These are the names of some of the black swallowtail butterflies that we released in 2024. There was way more than this. I don't know, over 100 butterflies. Maybe a little love note to journaling. On my birthday, I took a walk with my mom. It was a beautiful day, and I was so glad that my mom was in Chicago for my birthday. So we took a walk to Andersonville, and there's this person there who will write a poem for you. Did I put her name here? Oh, her name is Colty. You answer some questions, like she'll ask you a little bit about yourself, and then you give her 15 minutes and she types out a poem for you. We walked away and then came back about an hour later, and she typed this poem for me about me, and I find it so special and so beautiful. So there it is. Journaled about that. So apparently on July 23rd, I had a really great mental health day where I felt like I experienced the peace of mind that escapes me on a daily basis. I love this. I forgot about this. I love this. I love the color choices that I made here, if I may say so myself. So this is my higher self, and this is me embracing. Okay, girl, I like that. Art is healing. Don't stop. More affirmations for myself. Sometimes, you know, I make things and I wonder, like, what am I doing? But then I realize I don't have to have a reason for doing it. You don't have to have a reason for doing it. Just do it. This was heavily inspired by the butterflies, believe it or not. Watching their growth and their transition and their flight, it just felt like courage to me. And I know it's just nature taking place, but it really made me think about the trajectory of our lives. You're surrounded by those that love you, but then you kind of grow up, and then now you have to walk the path alone, all the things. I like it. August be like, this is the month that we pierced my daughter's ears. We took her to a proper piercing place. We go to Rowan. It was a wonderful experience. My daughter didn't even flinch. It was beautiful. A week later, proceeds to have an infection on one ear that would never go away, to the point where the doctor told us we had to remove the piercing, and now her piercings are closed. Maybe we'll try again this year, but what the F? So basically, I may as well have gone to Claire's because it cost us $200. It killed me. Some meditations. Don't suck at friendship. I stand by that. That's a sticker. Bye-bye, Felicia. You're not invited. Some thoughts on how and why I named my imposter syndrome Felicia. And I named her Felicia so that I could literally say bye, Felicia. Ooh, I love this. I came across this on Pinterest and I loved it, and I had to put it in my journal because I love the idea of calling our energy back to us. Whatever it is that robbed us of our energy, our strength, our courage, our faith, whatever, call it back to yourself and like reclaim it. Reclaiming my time. Abuse is the greatest form of selfishness and disrespect. That's a fact. Looks like something pissed her off. Okay, that's fine. We're allowed to have our feelings. This is one of my favorite illustrations I think that potentially I've ever done. And it is to depict falling and getting up again. And if you're new here and you don't know, often my illustrations are naked, and it is by no means sexual. The nudity for me, I've realized, is meant to reflect vulnerability. So a lot of times I'm not drawing clothing on my illustrations because I'm lazy and she's not a designer. but most often it's because it is expressing vulnerability in one way or another. And in this spread, I'm talking about falling and the opportunity to rise. And there is a lot of vulnerability in that. Oh, I forgot about this one. This is from Pinterest. Here for it. Oh, this is the last page. And I don't know where I got this idea from. It may have been from Overall Adventures, a channel that I adore, and I hope that she comes back, but she had a child and it bees like that sometimes. And I think that at the end of each of her journals, she thanks the journal or something, and I love that. So I've started adopting that, and in the last page of each of my journals, I write to the journal to thank it for taking in all of what I threw at it. And yeah, so that's what I did here, and I just made this collage. This is what I was put on earth to do, to write, to illustrate, and to talk to you, apparently, friend. I hope that you enjoyed this very, very chatty flip through. And if you made it to the end, please comment so that I can know that someone stays to the end with me, so that I don't feel like I have to say less. I mean, I do, but also, yeah. Thanks for being here, friend. See you next time. Bye. Friend, I'm having the worst kind of deja vu where I really feel like I already filmed this flip through, but it's not in my computer, and it is not on YouTube. So we continue. Here, I don't know. It's a different come back. So that's this one, Commonplace Journal number 2. Where's number 1? Oh, wait, what? First of all, are we in frame? Do I feel like I already filmed all of that? Pause again. For the love of everything, Shanice. Is that creepy? I do it all the time. Like, kudos to you for making soup on the 4th of July. Leek soup, no less. Leeks and beans? Woo. Anxiety keeps on trying me. And I just hope that I find out along the way. Vomit. This came from, well, that was a harsh segue, right? I love the neighbor's dog. I love the neighbor's dog howling. Amazing. It killed me.